most challenging letters, parts in Tanya, but together, hopefully we'll work on it and we will understand the beautiful stuff. Today's topic is why are mitzvahs so important? So we've explained in the beginning of this essay 4 of the last book in Tanya. By the way, we're completing the Tanya in about 2 weeks. It's going to be Yud Kislev. We're going to have a celebration Saturday night. My father will be here. Rabbi Shapiro's father will be here too. We're going to have a Fabrengen together, Malav Malka. Anyhow, we are talking about we spoke first in this essay about the power of davening. The davening has an element to it, which is the most important time before Mashiach comes. And as Rabbi Friedman explained, this idea in Tanya that we're changing the physical world because we're asking Hashem to change to daven, and you create a new energy that hasn't been there before, and that changes the physical world. As Rabbi Gordon says, that you're actually changing your animal soul, and it creates a uniqueness that only could be done through prayer, through davening. But today, we're going to learn about the mitzvah, that the mitzvahs change the mitzvahs, at least. All the things we do physical mitzvahs with, they change. It's going to give an example from an esrog, the lul of an esrog today, right? We do a physical mitzvah, and it's going to say that the bond and connection that you have with Hashem when you do the mitzvah, there is nothing else like it. And he started explaining in yesterday's class that the reality is that when you learn Torah, you meditate on the greatness of Hashem, you can only reach how far a human being can reach. You can only reach up to the level of your intellect. And in today's class, we'll see that that's very limited, how far you can go. And I want to use a few maps to explain this idea before we learn it actual in the Tanya itself. So here is a map. I know, those who will learn the Tanya class and remember it, it's probably more, just repeat, but that's always good to review. So we have in the second column I'm pointing to here is the 4 worlds. From the left, the second column to the left is Attilas, which is emanation. And I want to explain that actually today because we're going to get into that a little bit. That is the way the energy of Hashem, infinite energy of Hashem, which is beyond, above these 4 worlds, enters into the first of the 4 worlds, the world of emanation, and it creates some kind of limitation. However, being that first world is so close to the infinite energy of Hashem, it kind of, all it feels is Hashem, all it feels is godliness, all it feels is the infinite energy of Hashem, though it does have some kind of a beginning of a shape and form, it really is not, because it only feels the infinite energy of Hashem. So how could it feel itself, its own existence? That's the world of Attilas. Then we continue down to the world of Bria, which is the world of creation, and rightfully so it's the world of creation, because it's the beginning of the literal beings, the physical, unique, independent identities being created. And that's the world of Bria, that's the world of creation. Also, what I want to say is sometimes we can also refer to it as the world of intellect, because intellect has some form of understanding, and it's limited, but it's the most removed kind of understanding, and that's the world of Bria. Then we have the world of Yetzirah, which is the world of formation, as it continues to be formed and created into own independent existence and identities. Angels, let's say, come from that world, or the world of emotion is there in that world of Yetzirah. And finally, the lowest of the 4 worlds is the world of Asiya. That's the world of action, referring to the physical, mundane, physical world that we know we exist in this world of Asiya. So those are the 4 worlds. Now, the beginning of all of creation happens in the world of Attilas. That's the beginning of creation. That's where a lot of things take place. And then there's a gradual degradation and a gradual evolution from the first world to the other worlds. So if you have a lot of energy in the first world, that will slowly make its way down as it's contracted and limited as it goes through the next 3 worlds that are under it, getting to the world of Asiya. What we're going to say in today's class is that, in a way, when you do a mitzvah, I have to explain a lot of points to get here, but when you do a mitzvah, you kind of skip from the world of Attilas to the world of Asiya. That energy, the life, as we're going to see in today's Tanya, of the world of Attilas comes straight into the world of Asiya, or goes straight into the world of Bria, or goes straight into the world of Yetzirah, all those 3 worlds, bringing the Hashem's essence with it revealed. Because when you do the mitzvah, you're revealing it in the mitzvah into those those worlds where they are. So if you do a physical mitzvah with an esrog, we're going to say Atzilus itself comes down into the world of Asiya. Now, the human being cannot comprehend the world of Atzilus, cannot comprehend it. We know, and we gave in this example yesterday, we know that it exists, but there's a very big difference between knowing that something, the existence of something, or knowing the thing itself. I can know that something exists, but I could not know anything about it. I know that it exists, but I don't understand it. I know it exists, but I don't know it. Okay, that's a very big difference. So when we study Torah, we daven and we try to connect with the highest levels of Hashem or try to know what's going on in these upper worlds. When it comes to the world of Attilas, we're kind of closed out. We know it exists, but we don't understand it. It's beyond our comprehension. Okay, can't understand. But however, when you do a mitzvah, that's the argument he's going to make in today's class, is that when you do a mitzvah, all you have to know is the physical item, the esrog, because that physical item has godliness, is Hashem's essence, is in that esrog, and therefore you actually don't have to know such high levels because you can't understand such high levels, but you do know the esrog, and the Hashem himself, we're going to see today, makes that mitzvah, does that mitzvah, is the energy in that physical item that you're having as it is a mitzvah. So that is a little bit about the four worlds that I want to share with you. Let's move on. I want to talk about the soul. We haven't really brought up this map yet, but I'm happy to bring it up with you guys today. So when we say we have an neshama, you actually might remember you often use different names for the word for your soul. We might use the name neshama, we might use the name nefesh, or we might use the name ruach. So that's the things on the left, the column on the left, you'll notice are the 5 levels of the soul. And I'm going to start from the bottom and go up. So the bottom level of the soul, it's called the soul, it's called nefesh, it's called the soul of vitality. That is the soul you're in touch with. You see you're alive, and you see a person living, that the physical body is living, that is the soul of the vitality that the body has. And that's what you see, you're in touch with that. But then you go a little deeper, in that deeper dimension into the soul, and that is the spirit. Okay, that's the spirit of it. And then you have the neshama, which is the breath of life. That's the deeper dimension, the deeper part of the neshama, the deeper part of the soul. So that is as you go deeper. Now, all 3 of those you can be in touch with. I think the neshama part is the intellectual part of your soul. The ruach part is the more of the emotional part of your soul. And the nefesh is the vitality, the actual physical soul that is in the physical body. But as you climb higher, you go to this level of the soul called chaya. That level of the soul, you don't know it. You can't know it because you are a physical existence. And that soul, that is your soul existing in a deeper dimension, but you existing as a human being in a physical body are not in touch with that part of your soul. It exists in a much deeper part of you, a much deeper dimension, but being that you're stuck in a body, you're stuck in this physical world, you're stuck in this limitation, you actually only consciously know about the lower 3 levels of your soul, not the 4th, and for sure not the highest level of your soul, not the level called Yechida, which is the singular one. It's totally one with Hashem. So you have the soul of vitality, the part of your soul which you see, it's the body, it's making you live. You have the spirit of your soul, which is maybe could also be referred to, I believe, as the emotional part of the person. Then you have the neshama, which is the breath of life. You can maybe even get in touch with that because that's still consciously within your body, intellectual part of your soul, maybe a deep part of your soul, but that's the highest. You go consciously recognizing these 3 parts of your soul as you exist in a body. But then if you want to go deeper, chaya, it's called like the chaya, the living one. In today's time is going to say it's hovering over. It's not in our body. It's hovering over our body. And for sure, Yechida, it's totally one with Hashem. That's completely beyond our ability to understand, which now we're going to fit these 4 souls into these 5 levels of the soul, into the 5 levels of the body. Okay, so let's take the lowest world. We know the world of action, the world of Asiya. It makes a lot of sense. The lowest part of the soul exists in the world of action. That's the soul that's giving life, the vital soul of the body. It's in the physical world. You go up a level to the 2nd level up of the soul, the ruach, the spirit. That's the world of formation. Maybe it's, as I said, more of the emotional part from the emotional world. Then you have the world of Bria, the world of creation. That's the highest level the beginning of the physical existence. That's perhaps the intellectual part. That is the soul. That's the deepest part we recognize consciously. But then you go up to the first of the 4 worlds, the highest world, Attilas. That is our deeper dimension of our soul, the fourth level up from the bottom. That is a level of Attilas. As I said in the beginning of today's lesson, Attilas exists in a place which is beyond our comprehension, which is beyond our ability to grasp. It's out of ourselves. And guess what? That world of Attilas, we know that it exists, but we don't understand it. We know that it exists, but we don't know it. We don't understand it beyond our understanding. The example I gave yesterday, the Alter gave yesterday in Tanya, was from Moshe Rabbeinu. He's going to mention it today too. That Moshe said, God told Moses, you can see my back, but you can't see my face. What does that mean? You'll see my back and you don't see my face. When you look at a person, you see his back, you know that the person exists. There's a person there, but you don't even know, it could be you don't know who it is. You don't know what the person's smiling or upset. You don't know, you know about it, but you don't know it. And then finally, the highest level is Yechida, the highest level of the soul. It's a level of, it's connected with the infinite energy of Hashem, totally one with God. And that's why it's called the singular one, because over there's no particles, there's no pieces, there's no details, there's no creation. It's beyond, totally infinite and beyond the level of creation. And those are the 5 levels of the soul corresponding to the 5 worlds. Let me shut this down. I think I had one more. I don't know if I can reach it over here. I had one more map. Yeah, I wanted to show you. We did this the 2 days ago, but let's go over it again. There's 4 energies that everything is made up from, and they exist in all of the 4 worlds. Each of these 4 worlds, the different levels exists. Okay, so let's go over quickly. There's the beginning, the beginning of the energies are the intellect. There's wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. They're the beginning of the 4 energies. Then we have the emotions. We have kindness, strength, beauty, victory, foundation, splendor. So these 6 emotions are the breakdown of, first, the intellect is the highest. It's the beginning. First, you have the intellectual stimulus, the brain works, creates the first two levels of emotion, which are kindness and strength. Those are the source, beginning, main, internal emotions, which then spread out and branch out into the external emotions, as they split into 6. You don't just have kindness and strength, but you have kindness, strength, beauty, victory, foundation, and splendor, malchus, whatever, how you want to spit it. But the 2 source internal emotions are broken down into a total of 6 external emotions, as you see here in this picture. Now, I want to go back to Attilas for a minute, because these 10 exist within the first world, the world of Attilas, the world of emanation. And I want to tell you that usually, normally, in the lower 3 worlds, the worlds of creation, formation, and action, those lower 3 worlds that we have here on the second to left column, it exists almost like a light bulb, I say sometimes. The light is like the light, and the bulb is the color. So you could choose which color light you want. You could even make it green. You can make it red. You could choose the color. So the light is pure, and the vessel is the bulb. The vessel kind of channels the light. So that's how it works in the lower 3 worlds. So there are the 10 different energies, vessels, 10 different light bulbs, 10 different cups, 10 different vessels, and a pure light from the world on top of it. So let's take the world of creation, the second world, down from the top. The world of creation has, let's say, 10 different light bulbs, 10 different vessels. And the energy from the higher world, Attilas, is pure, comes down into the world of Bria, of creation. And then the 10 vessels kind of create the coloring and the character to the light by going into either one of those 10 vessels. It becomes wisdom, intellect, knowledge, whatever it becomes, kindness, strength, it becomes independent existence. So that happens again in the world of formation. The pure light, as it exists, comes out of creation, whatever it means. Pure comes down a level to formation. Formation has its 10 vessels, will again create character to what it's receiving, what it considers pure light, and creates characteristics to those. And the same thing happens in the world of action. A pure light from the world on top of it comes down, and the vessels kind of give it character and so on. However, in the world of Attilas, in the first world, although it does have the 10 vessels and the energy that's coming into it, which is the infinite energy of Hashem, since it's such a strong energy that comes down from the infinite energy of Hashem into the first world, the 10 vessels are so kind of nullified to that light. They become one with the light, and they're almost like they don't exist. So they do exist, but they're totally nullified to this unbelievable energy that's on top of it. So perhaps in the world under it, in the world of Bria, in the world of creation, the vessels are still hold their own ground. They become their own independent, they stay their own independent existence, channeling the light. But in the world of emanation, in the world of Attilas, they're so one with the light that comes into them. There's such a oneness with the light that comes into them that they actually take on the characteristics of the light. They become totally one with Hashem, which is the point of that message. This last point that I'm making is saying that they're considered godliness. They're not an independent existence. They're so nullified to Hashem, to the infinite energy of God that's within them, that they themselves take on, you can call them godliness, godly, because they're so nullified to the infinite energy of Hashem that they're godly too. The vessels are not independent existence. The more you're in independent existence, the further you are from Hashem, the less of independent existence you are, the closer you are to Hashem. So the vessels in the first world, in the world of Attilas, are so blown away and so nullified to the infinite energy in them that they themselves, in Kabbalah, it's called Iyu v'garmu yichad. Hashem and his vessels, there are one. You can't say godliness is the light and the vessels are creation. No, they're so nullified to Hashem that they're considered to be godly too. So let's learn this, all these fascinating ideas that we're sharing in today's Tanya with you. Beautiful, deep idea. And the message is going to be, all this stuff is to bring out the powerful message. We're learning essay 4, one of the most complex letters in Tanya. And today we're right in the heart of it. So hopefully I'll try my best to explain it the best I can. And we will see something very beautiful. What if you learn this letter well, you'll be blown away to do, you'll want to do mitzvahs, more physical mitzvahs. Let's see. So let's just recap from where we left off the Tanya from the day before. We said that you can never, once you're a physical creation, you can never know, about the existence of Hashem, how he exists in the world of Attilas, in the world of emanation. We know that it exists, but we don't know it. We know about it, but we don't know it because it's beyond once you're a creation in the world, the lower 3 worlds, Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya, formation and creation and the world of action, cannot comprehend the first world. The bridge is too far, the gap is too far that your brain knows it exists but doesn't know it. We'll see inside. However, regarding the physical act of a mitzvah, that physical mitzvah is the action of God. He's quoting words here. Where do we see this? By the tablets. When Moses went up, he got the tablets that Hashem himself made. So he was actually holding in his hands the physical creation that he received from God. He received something made by God and he brings it down. He wants to argue in today's Tanya, he wants to say that all mitzvahs we do are like that we are holding the physical creation of God. It came by way of descent from the world of Attilas, the world of emanation, the Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya, to the other 3 worlds, the world of creation, formation, and action. It came down from emanation to creation, formation, and action. From their very essence, they came down to the chitzoniyuson through their external aspects. Now, the way I think Rabbi Friedman wants to explain when I say their essence to their external is that going in specifically to the 10 energies that I'm showing you in the map here, is that chesed and gvura are the internal emotions, and then the 6 emotions are the external ones. So I believe what he says is that the act of the mitzvah that you do is taking the internal energies of the world of Attilas, of the world of emanation, into the external ones and brings them down all the way into the next 3 worlds that they exist down, lower down there. The essence of the world of Attilas, which is usually we say we can't grasp, it's beyond our grasp, that is the mitzvah. The mitzvah comes down through the internal energies within the highest world, the world of emanation, the world of Attilas. Those things come down and create the mitzvah that we have here in the world. For example, the esrog and its species, the kind, the lulav and the esrog, the adasam and the ravos, those things are the esrog and its species. Hilbish ben HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'mehusan v'atzmusan, Hashem dressed himself up into chasadim pnimim dezer anpin, from the internal kindness of the internal part of the world of the emanation of Attilas, which is the two emotions, which is the internal part of that world of Attilas, they themselves went down and came down into the mitzvah, into the physical mitzvah. So intellectually, you can never grasp. You know that what's the difference between saying grasp and saying I know it exists? If I know it exists, doesn't mean that I grasp it. I don't know it. I know of its existence, but I don't know it. So intellectually trying to understand and get to that world intellectually, emotionally, I'll never get there. I'll know it exists, but I'll never grasp it. I'll never understand it. I won't know it. I'll know about its existence, but I won't know it. I'll never grasp it. But you should know that the mitzvah that comes down is Hashem's energy being grasped and going down into the next world, and you could have a relationship with that level of Hashem, not just with it itself, not just knowing about it, but having it itself there. From their outward state, that the internal emotions. Let's see, can people hear me? Because I feel like it froze here for a second. Can anybody hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know why. So maybe it's just my screen froze. Okay.
I hear you.
Okay,
I hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, good. I'll keep on going. I don't see myself, but I see the screen. So he wants to say that the internal aspect of the world of Atzilas dressed up, came down into the external part of the world of Atzilas of emanation, and from there came down into our physical world. As it's known, we say this from all physical mitzvahs, that the essence of Hashem dressed of the internal world of Atzilas, the emotions of Atzilas, went into the external emotions of Atzilas, which went into all three worlds, dressed up into the lower three worlds to bring them into existence, to connect with them. And you're going to be holding that physical mitzvah that was created. However, this is all works when you do a mitzvah. However, the human being, when he himself tries intellectually, which is on his emotions, to get emotionally and intellectually to the world of Atzilas, try to get there, affiliation in the Shaman Atzilas, even if you're lucky enough to be like the greatest tzaddikim that ever lived in history, which they themselves had a soul. Their soul was from the world of Atzilas. They're very, very high level of a soul. But it doesn't help them, he's going to say. Now, I don't care about, even if you have a soul from the world of emanation, the world of Atzilas, that is not going to help you get there. Because your soul went and dressed itself in a body. You went into a body. Once your soul went into a body, your only part of your soul that's recognized are the lower three levels of the soul, like I explained in the beginning of today's lesson. Only the part of your soul which is consciously in your body is something that you are able to understand and know and deal with. You might know that there exists a deeper part to your soul, but you don't know it. You know of it, but you don't know it. Because the level of your soul that is from the world of emanation, it's called Chaya. That's the fourth level of your soul going up. And that level of your soul, that you might have that soul. You might have been lucky enough to have a soul that came from that high world. But guess what? That part of your soul that came from such a high world, from such a high level, is stuck there, is stuck out of your body, and can never enter the conscious of your body, because the fact is that your body is limited and can only understand what a body could understand. And a body can only get intellectual and emotional, which maybe are the worlds of Bria, Yetzira, creation and formation, but cannot get to the world of Atzilas, to the world of emanation. And the only thing you will know about that world of Atzilas, the world of emanation, is the fact that it exists. Using your emotions and your fear and awe of Hashem, you can maybe reach there and get there, but you will only know, no matter how much you daven and how much Torah you learn and how deep you go, you'll never go past up to world number one to grasp it. You'll know of it, but you'll never grasp it. You can never really understand it, but you could only know of it because it's beyond your comprehension, because you exist in a physical body, and therefore, even if you're lucky enough to have a soul from that world, you don't know about that soul. It's not conscious. Only in your in the subconscious part Maybe you know that I know subconsciously that, or consciously even, that I know that I have that part of my soul, but I don't know it. He's going to bring an interesting caveat here. We're going to go off on the side for a moment, but it's a very interesting point about prophecy, which I want to talk about now. So he's going to discuss a verse, the way Hashem tells Moses the highest level of prophecy he'll give Moses, and it'll give you a little bit of a inside picture into what happened by prophecy when Moses prophesied. Or Mashakasav, what it says in the Torah, V'ra'isi es achorai. God told Moses, you will always only see my back, and you will never see my face. Now, as I've been explaining today and yesterday's class, that what does that mean? That you can know of my existence, but you can't know me. And that's referring to the world of Attilas, even to the highest, the first of the four worlds, the world of emanation. You can know of it, Moses, but you can't know it. But there's a little bit of a problem, a question that he has with this statement. Because when you know of something's existence, but you don't know it, it's not good. It shouldn't be using the term, the Torah should not be using the term to see. You can see my existence. He should have better said, you can know of my existence. Usually when people see things, you don't just know of the existence, but you understand it. You don't just know of it, but you understand it itself. So why is the Torah using a term, V'ra'isi es achorai? You will see my back. It should have said, Moses, the furthest you'll ever get is to know my back, to know of my existence. Why does the Torah, the Alter Rebbe asks, use the term, you will see my back? And he says, because it's a whole different ballgame, what we're referring to in that topic, we're referring to, the Alter Rebbe is going to say, we're referring to prophecy. And prophecy is a whole different ballgame. Why is prophecy a whole different ballgame? Because when people prophesize, the way prophecy works, at least one of the ways prophecy works, is that they kind of have to leave their body in a sense and be able to go out of themselves and see and I guess recognize a world that's beyond the physical existence. So they're actually, it's not as they exist in their human form, in their conscious human form, that they're experiencing what they're experiencing. In a sense, they're leaving their physical identity, moving out of having an out-of-body experience, maybe you would call it an out-of-body experience, and recognizing something from the beyond, from a different dimension. So Moshe is experiencing prophecy, but since he's not anymore stuck in his body, you wouldn't say anymore, maybe just knowing it, he can maybe understand it. But the reason he could understand it, or the reason at least that he could see it, is, and getting some more maybe information or knowing it a little bit, is because, or seeing it at least a little bit more, is because he's getting it in a way of prophecy. And the way prophecy works is they give you kind of like a video of something that doesn't make sense within the physical existence. You'll see something at a kind of maybe an out-of-body experience, and therefore vision is the correct term to use. Because when you experience something through prophecy, you're experiencing something that's not within the physical world. But once you return to your body and you exist in a physical body, even the prophets or anyone that exists in a physical body can never have the seeing and understanding experience of the world of Attilas, of that high level. You could only know of it, but you can't understand it itself. So maybe a prophet can see that level, the world of emanation, the world of Attilas from that level, because he's having an out-of-body experience. But once you exist, you exist consciously in your body, there's no way for anybody to exist in a body and to be able to understand it, not just know of it, but understand it at that level. And this is what he's saying now in time. This is the reason, because it's not possible for a created being to understand anything about the essence of God, to know it itself. Which is the creator. We always, as creations, will know that Hashem exists and Hashem creates everything, and we'll know a lot, but we'll never know him himself. And the fact that you know of it, but not grasping it itself, without having or the word he wants to use, comprehending it, right? That's the word comprehension. You can know of, let's say, a math problem, but you don't comprehend it, so you can't comprehend Hashem. So because you never could cross that bridge and comprehend it, you know of it, but not comprehend it, you'll never connect to Hashem's essence, because you'll always know of Hashem's essence, but if you try to get there intellectually, you'll never get there, because you'll never know it. You'll know of it, but you'll never know it. And therefore, your bond with Hashem will never surpass the world of Bria, the world of formation, creation. You'll never pass that world of creation because it's not possible to be a human being and go beyond into the divine level of knowing it itself, knowing the world of Atzilas. However, if you want to have a relationship at that high level, with the level of emanation, you got to do a physical mitzvah, he's going to say. Now, you could have a relationship through a mitzvah, not through intellectually, not trying to get your body and your brain and your intellect to climb to the world of emanation, because you can never get there. However, the esrog example analogy that we started using today, for example, the energy and the life, the existence of that esrog, where did it come from? It came from the world of emanation, the world of Attilas. The energy creating that esrog came from the world of emanation, from the highest world, from the world of Attilas. And it came from the malchus, the nukva, the last of the 10 vessels, which the last of the 10 vessels in that world got it from the emotions, okay, which got it from the internal emotions of that world. So, which is a state of divinity, is since it comes out of the world, even though it comes through the vessels, it doesn't matter. And here he's going to explain to you what I explained in the beginning of today's lesson, that in the world of Atzilas, the vessels and the lights are not independent identities like in the other world. They become one. Like it says in the book of Kabbalah Eitz Chaim, that all the fruit that exists in our world, or fruits, come from, actually all fruits, and we're going to see whether it's a mitzvah or not, originate in the world of Atzilas. Ki lamed kelim, and he gives you just some Kabbalistic words, which I'll try to explain here. Lamed kelim da Atzilas, because the 30 vessels that are in Atzilas, what does it mean, the 30 vessels? So Rabbi Friedman explained, those are referring to the lowest 3 levels. In other words, there's 10, right? There's 10 vessels, there's 10 energies in each of the worlds. So the lowest 3 of the 10 energies in the first world, the world of emanation, the world of Atzilas, called Hoyd, Yisoid, and Malchus. Those are their name. Each one has 10 vessels. Okay, so the 30, the last 3 of the 10 vessels in the world of emanation, the world of Atzilas, and he gives each one of them for some reason 10, which equals to 30. The last 3 times 10 is 30. So those 30 vessels of the world of emanation went down into the worlds of Bria, Tzir, and Asiya, into the lower 3 worlds of creation, formation, and action. And those are the 10 sayings which Hashem created the world with. And how did Hashem do it? Hashem had the lowest level of Atzilus, the level of Malchus, the lowest level of the highest world, the world of emanation, go and become the light into the vessels of the lowest world, to our physical world of action. So it almost like crossed over the 2 worlds and came into the physical existence of our world, into the vessel of Malchus, into the lowest level of our world, which created the physical essence of the entities of our world, got a energy, a light come down from the world of Atzilus, the world of emanation, into the world of action. Because the vessels of Atzilus, the vessels of Atzilas became the soul, became the light in the world of Asiya, in the world of action, which means that they're godliness themselves. So if the world of Atzilas came straight into our physical world to create it, that means that our physical world has got divinity, godliness in our world itself. Because even though we are getting from the highest world, the world of Atzilas, the world of emanation, we're getting the lowest level of that world, we're getting a vessel. However, as I said in the beginning of today's lesson, in the lower 3 worlds, the vessels are their own independent existence and exist separately from the light that comes into that world. But in the world of Atzilos, the vessels are so blown away by the energy that's in them that they become one with it. So if you're getting an energy from the lowest level of Atzilas, it doesn't matter. Everything in Atzilas is one with the infinite energy of Hashem. And then that comes into the physical world, to the Malchus of Asiya, to the physical world of the world of action, creating it. That means you're getting divinity within our world. And then through that relationship, through that bond, that connection between the essence of the vessel of the world of emanation of Atzilus, going into the nukva of Asiya, which is the Malchus, which is the creator, the thing creating the identities in the physical world. That is how the esrog came to be. So Nimtza comes out. When you hold the esrog, and you shake it halachically as is required, and you do everything right. It is a toifis mamish chayusa hamelubash by menukva Attilas. You're right now holding in that moment the energy from the world of Attilas, from the world of emanation that came down from Malchus of Attilas, from the energy of the world of emanation. Right now, you're in the physical world. You're holding godliness in your hand. And the lowest level of the world of emanation of Attilas is one with the infinite energy of Hashem, which is godliness himself. And that's what is so great. That's the answer, my friends. What is so special and so great by doing a mitzvah is that you're literally, whether you follow this or not, the bottom line is that when you do a physical mitzvah, you're holding godliness in your hands. Like Moshe Rabbeinu brought down the tablets from Hashem, from Har Sinai, because they were made by God's hands. Right now in the physical world, you're holding the tablets, you're holding the esrog, you're holding the creation of Hashem in your hands. There's a few more points we need to make that I think are obvious questions, but let's finish the Tanya and make these last points, and then we'll take any questions or comments from people. However, trying to reach high levels of godliness through kavanah, through intent. So you're saying, listen, I want to do the mitzvah of esrog, but I want to meditate on the world of Attilas. I want to meditate on the world of Bria. I want to do these meditations, like let me meditate on those worlds. I want to meditate on those worlds and get to connect with the energy from those worlds through that. I don't care how much Kabbalah you know and how much you understand the esoteric, the mystical worlds. You cannot ever grasp it, the essence of the world of Attilas. You can know about it. You will never know it. So your relationship will always be like knowing it, but not having a real grasp and comprehension of it. You will only know about it. However, when you do a mitzvah, you have it in your hand itself. You're holding it. You know through knowing it's here in your physical world, and you can know it by learning about by handling the physical esrog. However, if you're not trying to become a meditator and meditate on the higher worlds of Attilas and Bria, all you want to do is hold the mitzvah. Or you want to learn even the laws of the physical mitzvah. That's no problem. But guess, either hold the esrog, as we explained, you're holding godliness in your hands. Or you want to learn the laws of esrog, because you're learning a practical thing. But guess what? This is godliness, and therefore you're studying about godliness itself, because you're studying about the physical esrog. And you want to learn, how do I hold the esrog, and what's the right way to do the mitzvah? And I speak about with my friends the laws of esrog, like we had in our lunch and learned that day. We learned about the laws of esrog, and we think about it right now. You're thinking about and talking about the physical esrog. You should know this esrog is godliness, and therefore you're talking about Hashem Himself. And you're grasping, and therefore since Hashem came down into here, you're grasping Hashem Himself. And especially if you're meditating, not to meditate to understand the higher world because you want to get higher, but you want to meditate on the mitzvah itself. Like, for example, what our class is doing right now. Meditate on the fact that when you do this mitzvah, when you hold this esrog, you're connecting with Hashem Himself. That is identifying the physical action that's here. And through that, you're connecting with, you're grasping actually Hashem Himself, because Hashem Himself is that esrog that came down here. So this is a mitzvah, but we're talking about which meditations will get you to grasp Hashem Himself is the meditations on the mitzvah. The physical mitzvah, like what we do in our class right now, we're explaining the meditation on the physical mitzvah. Not you're just trying to meditate about the higher world, but you're meditating about the mitzvah. Because then it's meditating on the physical mitzvah or learning the laws about the mitzvah and the mitzvah itself. They're all equal, and they're giving you a grasp in this physical mitzvah, which means you grasp it really in your brain, and you're actually grasping Hashem Himself when you do that. Learning, meditating on the greatness of the physical mitzvah in a way brings you more of a sense of closeness to even more than learning the laws of it. When you're meditating on this specific mitzvah itself, even though you don't grasp the essence of Hashem, how He exists in those higher worlds, but you grasp Hashem because Hashem is this Esrog that's here right now. Now, I want to say one thing. I thought I must have missed it. An obvious question that you might have in what we learned is, well, all things that exist in our physical creation are all things that exist in our physical creation. All things that exist in our physical creation, they all came from the world of Attilas. So why aren't all fruit the essence of Hashem? And the answer is, well, you're right, everything came from Hashem. But when you do a mitzvah, you're revealing that this energy is coming from Hashem. It's made for Hashem. So the fact everything comes from Hashem, correct, but everything is hidden. It's hiding Hashem. However, when you do the physical mitzvah, you're revealing the truth that this is the essence. You're revealing that this is essence and one with Hashem. So this uniqueness that you could recognize that Atzilas came into the world of Asiya, that Atzilas came into the physical world, and is one with it only happens with a mitzvah. When you do an act of a mitzvah with it, it becomes just like the tablets. Moshe brought down from Hashem. The physical mitzvah is like the tablets that is created by Hashem Himself. You're holding Hashem's energy within your hand, and this is the beauty and the power of doing a physical mitzvah. Any questions or comments on today's very deep and powerful lesson?